Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bitter Rivals podcast. I am your host, Avery, along with co-host Gitano Gallo. This is episode 101, powered by the Game Entertainment and Media, as per usual. We had the draft. We've had the first few days here, free agency now, yesterday and today. There's been some signings, some lack thereof signings. There's been lots of fun stuff going on, if that's what you want to call it. So let's start with the draft. No surprise who went first overall. Connor Bedard is a Chicago Blackhawk. A little bit surprising that Anaheim passed on Adam Fantilli. I thought that was interesting. I thought they were going to go with him for sure. I thought he was a sure bet at 2, but Leo Carlsson.
You did call it. You did call the Leo Carlsson at 2 pick.
I did. It was shocking though. It was shocking. I definitely thought they were taking Fantilli. I just said what I said was there is a chance, Leo Carlsson has a chance to kind of tip the scales here and go second overall to Anaheim. And it's just because I heard that earlier in the day, and then it ended up happening. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
So, Habs fans are completely awful. If we didn't know that already, you're all terrible people, and you actually... to the point where Montreal will not bring their 5th overall pick to North America next year, David Reinbacher, because Habs fans are so hateful. That is exactly it. I'm not going to say what was said because it is completely and utterly disgusting, but there was some very...
So I don't think he was coming across anyways. He still has a year of school left. So he said that his priority was finishing that. So, and I also don't see a rush to bring him in.
Well, he's not that good either, so there's that. But yeah, there's a reason that Habs fans were pissed. There's a reason that Habs fans were pissed. It's because it was the wrong pick, right? That's why, and you know it, and you're gonna try to justify it, but you know it. It was the wrong pick.
Here's the thing, Abe. I can sit here and be a whiny little bitch all I want. We could record for fucking 10 hours of me just screaming and complaining. Doesn't change the fact that we picked him. And so now you just have to suck it up and support the kid because that's what you do as a fan.
Yeah, I don't know. Your draft, your GM's drafting ability is really questionable. I have to say that. Between the Slavkovsky pick and this one here, I see 2 top 5 picks, and you get Slavkovsky and David Reinbacher. That is really something.
The thing that gets me going here, Abe, is so Habs development camp literally started today, like this morning. First drill, D pairing, Reinbacher and Hudson. That's got me going. I'm all in on that. I think that is a legitimate top pairing in the next few years, and for a very long time after that.
If you think that that's a top pairing, I think you're absolutely delusional. Neither of them have ever shown a sign that they would be a top pairing. Let's be real here. The ceiling for David Reinbacher is a second pairing guy. The ceiling.
Did you just completely forget Lane Hudson's last season?
No, I didn't, but it was in college.
Dude was like one of the best players in college hockey as a rookie, first year.
Yeah, and see, the thing about being a top pairing D-man is that you need to have defensive ability as well as offensive ability.
And that's the Reinbacher. That's Reinbacher and Hudson together. Oh, I'm telling...
David Reinbacher will never be a top pairing defenseman in the National Hockey League.
Do you want me to write it on the fucking whiteboard?
Write it on the whiteboard. David Reinbacher will never be a top pairing defenseman in the National Hockey League. Never. And if he is, that team will fail. And it's that simple. Anyway.
I think the kid is class. I think he's going to be great. He was a projected top 10 pick. So it's not like the Habs went off the board. Don't give me that look. Literally everyone had him in the top 10 from 5 to 8. That's where he was projected to go. And he went at 5. We got him. Right-handed defensemen are unicorns. You don't find them very often. I think it's a great pick. Would I have preferred Michkov? Yeah. But we have Reinbacher. We have a fucking stud of a right-hand defenseman, the one thing the Habs have really, really needed. Basically all of our prospects and like the younger guys are all lefties, so it's great to have that balance now. I like the pick. And it wasn't.
You can justify it all you want. He's still not a top pairing defenseman.
He will be. Trust me. Trust.
He's just not. Just like Easton Cowan shouldn't have been drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs at 28 overall. That was a terrible pick. He was projected to go somewhere between 60 and 100, and the Leafs take him at 28. Brad Treliving has had a rough start. He has been general manager for like a grand total of 3 minutes, and he has done nothing but fail. I already hate this guy. I'm not going to lie to you. He's let 9 players walk out the door. Some of them needed to go, I get it. But then he replaces them with a 36-year-old Ryan Reeves for 3 years. You give him a 3-year deal. 36-year-old Ryan Reeves.
They gave him a 3-year deal?
3-year deal.
Okay. I thought it was 2, and I didn't hate 2 because you can get rid of the final year if it doesn't work. But 3, that's not great.
He can't skate, and he's 36 years old. What are we doing? John Klingberg had an awful season last year. What are we signing him for? We need, and the justification for that is that we need more offense from the back end. But like, yeah, you need guys who are like, you know how I just said, like Lane Hudson is all offense, literally cannot play defense. That's the same thing with John Klingberg, and that's why he's not a top pairing guy in the NHL anymore. Is because he can't play defense. If you're going to be that bad at defense, then you have to be Erik Karlsson for it to work. That's it.
I was going to say Cale Makar, but yeah. No.
Erik Karlsson is by far the best offensive defenseman in the NHL.
No. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying that's where my mind was going.
Yeah.
Cale Makar is the yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, if you're going to be that bad, because Erik Karlsson, let's be real here, underlying numbers, eye test, he's the best offensive defenseman in the league, and he's probably the worst defensive defenseman in the league.
Yeah. Like,
it's pretty cut and dry.
You're playing with an extra forward out there, essentially.
More or less, yes. And the guy who's going to contend for a Selke.
No, and the thing is, the points that he produces kind of outweigh the goals that he's on the ice for, and his lack of defensive ability. And that with Klingberg, it's just not, that ratio isn't there.
No, exactly. And I have no idea what they're doing. You want to add tough, like, I'm sorry, Ryan Reeves doesn't bring anything to the table that Wayne Simmons didn't.
No. And and Matt Martin before that too, right?
He doesn't bring anything to the table that Wayne Simmons didn't, and Wayne Simmons didn't even have a spot in the lineup at the end of the year. And to me, Wayne Simmons has more upside than Ryan Reeves does in terms of actual hockey. Not punching guys.
At one point, Wayne Simmons was actually a very, very good hockey player.
Yes, and he still showed flashes of that, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think the Leafs are failing. But because this sport is so ridiculous and stupid, you damn well know we're going to go to the Eastern Conference Final or something.
You saw that tweet, eh?
Well, it's because that's how this sport works. Look at Florida. Look at what they did this year. Yeah. They set records. President's Trophy winners. They shake it up, they look worse on paper, and they go to the Stanley Cup final. That's just how this sport works. It's stupid. It makes no sense. And sometimes you just got to do stupid shit, and it works, I guess. I don't know. Signing Ryan Reeves to me was an absolutely, I wanted him fired on the spot. I wanted Brad Treliving fired on the spot as soon as I heard that signing was made. I was like, are you serious right now? We're going in this direction? This is really our big free agency signing right now is Ryan Reeves.
This feels like Lou's first summer all over again.
I don't know, man. It's really painful to watch what they're doing to this hockey team right now. And the fact that there hasn't been a Nylander or a Matthews contract extension announced yet also isn't good.
I mean, if it's 1 p.m. the second day of free agency, I wouldn't expect those contracts to be hammered out and done. And the only reason I say that is because legally, in quotations, they weren't allowed to even make negotiations.
Enough with that. Enough.
Like I said.
Stop.
Said, legally.
Stop. Look at Ilya Sorokin's contract that was handed out yesterday. $61 million, and you're trying to tell me they're not allowed to negotiate until 12 o'clock? Come on. Wake up. That's not accurate. That doesn't actually happen. There is ongoing negotiations between agents and general managers all year round, all the time. That is such a bullshit line in the sand. Come on. It is. That doesn't actually, you're trying to tell me that Sorokin deal got hammered out, an 8-year contract. This guy figured out what he was going to do for the next 8 years of his life in an hour? I don't think so.
I mean, it's a lot more money than I would have paid him. So someone gives you that, puts that deal in front of you. I don't think it takes long to sign that, for being honest.
sometimes you got to find your guy and you got to pay him. Look, besides Aiden Hill, if you look back at the Stanley Cup champions for the past 10 years, every single one of them had a good goalie. Yeah. Every single one. And Aiden Hill was a good goalie too. Bro, but I'm not taking it.
You can look back at any Stanley Cup champion, good goalie.
Exactly. So if you find a guy, Ilya Sorokin, who was a Vezina finalist this year and has been very good for a lot of years, you find him, you got to pay him. If you don't pay him, somebody else.
100%. And that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, you know, in the perfect world that they didn't start negotiating until yesterday at noon. I don't see how it takes long to hammer that out. If he wants to stay, they want to keep him, they're going to pay him.
So back to my point, that would mean that isn't the case in Toronto with Matthews and Nylander, right?
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, that's what I was getting at. And you were like, well, those contracts haven't been hammered out yet because there hasn't been enough time. Like you just said, if they wanted to be there and they want him to be, and they want to be there and we want them to be there, then it just gets done, right? Like those things just get finished. None of this, like that should have been announced yesterday at noon. Like, I'm sorry, both of those contracts. If they were serious about it, those contracts should have been announced yesterday at noon. And that's just it. And they weren't.
Which one do you expect to be announced first? If in the theoretical world where they both re-sign, which one gets announced first?
Well, if they both re-sign, whoever the deal gets done for first. I don't get what you're asking me.
I just mean, like, which deal do you think will get done first?
Well, I think they're a lot more sure about their ability to sign Matthews than there are their ability to sign Nylander. Like, obviously, they'll pay Matthews anything he wants because he's Austin Matthews. William Nylander, they don't really... They don't value him as much as he values himself, I think, is what it is. Like, my understanding to this point is Nylander's somewhere in around the $10 to $10.5 million range, and the Leafs are below 9. So they're very, very different numbers there, obviously.
Okay, but I feel like he is probably a $10 million player, so like if he signs for 10 mil anywhere else in the league, I wouldn't even question it. You'd be like, yeah.
Got to give credit where credit is due. Jeff O'Neill said it yesterday on Overdrive. You get the Meyer deal. Nothing more, nothing less. 8 by 8.8. If you don't want it, we're trading you. If you do, you can have it. It's yours. You get the Meyer deal. 8 by 8.8. If you don't want it, sorry, man. We got to go somewhere. We got to do something else here. Sorry, dude. That's
wild. I hold William Nylander so much higher than Timo Meyer. I think that there's and like that's what $1.2 million. There's definitely a way bigger gap between the two of them than that 1.2 million. If you're saying 8 by 8 and Willie wants 10, like
I disagree. I think Timo Meyer's been a more consistent player in the league for more years. I think the thing about William Nylander that you see and that I've always been a William Nylander supporter. I love the guy, but he can be one of the most frustrating players in the sport because he is not all in all the time. He floats. When he's off, oh my God, is he off? Like, he is pitiful. He doesn't have a B game, right? Like, it's either the A game or a big shit. Like, that's really what he does. And that's why he's not a $10 million player. I'll be honest with you. That's why. Is because he's one of the most inconsistent players in the sport.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who else did the Leafs sign? Have they signed anyone else?
Literally John Klingberg and Ryan Reeves. That's it. And we've let 9 guys walk out the door, including Michael Bunting, including Ryan O'Reilly, Nola Chari, Eric Shalgren, not a big deal. I forget who. It's been pretty much exodus. And the fact that the news has come out now that Ryan O'Reilly wasn't even really concerned about money. Like, it wasn't a money thing. The Leafs were able to pay him. He just didn't want to be in Toronto. After wanting to be traded to Toronto from St. Louis and then going there and kind of seeing what was up and then immediately fucking off.
It's not a good sign, is it?
No, I hate it. I hate every second of it. It makes me so nervous about that locker room right now. It's a tough scene, and that's putting it very lightly. I think. I don't know if it's the coach that maybe some of these guys aren't liking the camaraderie in the dressing room. Maybe I have no idea what's going on, but it's a bad time right now in Toronto. It's a really bad time, and it's a dark time. And I don't really have much else to say. I've been really trying to tune out most of this hockey stuff over the past couple of days because my general manager is a fucking idiot, if we're being honest. So, Boston pizza sucks, and fire Brad Triller. So I got nothing more for you today. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm so pissed off at that guy. It's not even funny. He's drafting like shit. He's making bad signings. He's letting guys walk out the door. It's an absolute mess. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to say it. It's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. Murray hasn't been bought out yet for some reason. I don't know.
Has TJ Brody been bought out yet?
No, he has not.
Also, can we just laugh at the Senators signing Korpisalo to the Murray deal? And I love it. That's a terrible, terrible signing for them.
They needed a goaltender. They went and got it. But yeah, he is definitely...
I get that, but that is an overpay in way too many years.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind the $4 million, actually. It's 5x4? Or is it 4x5?
I think it was 5x4.
Yeah, 5 years. If that guy doesn't turn on the Jets, if you will.
Yeah, because he's never really got there. Eh?
Well, I was surprised to find out he was a .915 save percentage last year. I did not think he had that good of a year. But yeah, I was watching actually Pierre Dorian talk about that signing today, and he's like, he won a playoff round, and I was like, what are you talking about? Lots of goaltenders have won playoff rounds. Doesn't mean you pay a guy like $4 million for 5 years, dude. Like, and he was like, my goaltending coaches have told me that they think he's just scratching the surface. Oh yeah, really? Like, you think that your defense is really a defensive unit that can pull more out of a goaltender? Like, you really believe that? Because you're wrong. Like, you're awful on the back end in Ottawa. Awful, absolutely terrible.
Like at this point, like the Senators should not be worrying about winning playoff rounds yet.
No,
like there's still at least a couple years off that. Plus, they still have to re-sign DeBrincat, which I think is fucking hilarious. That they bring him in as part of the rebuild, and he was, kind of a key part of it. And now he's RFA right now, and they're listening to offers for him. It's hilarious to me.
Well, he wants out, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's so requested out.
It's so funny.
Anyway, not really much out of Montreal yesterday, right? For free agency, it was just the Edmondson trade for a 3rd and a 7th. Is that what it was, or a 3rd and a 5th?
Yeah,
something like that.
3rd and 7th, and the Habs are retaining 50%. So there was that, and then
that's only a 1-year deal, though, right?
Yeah, 1 year left on it. Basically, what came of it was last year we were looking to flip him, but he got hurt around the deadline, so we couldn't flip him. So Kent Hughes just kind of wasn't gonna waste time and risk that and then lose him for nothing next summer. And it also kind of clears out the logjam at left D that I was talking about earlier, where we have all these guys that are left-handed defensemen and only 3 spots for him. So it just kind of clears that out. I don't hate it. Joel Edmondson was a great servant for the team, did some great stuff for us. Wish him all the best in Washington. And then before the draft, the Habs acquired Alex Newhook's signing rights from Colorado for picks 31 and 37 and an AHL defenseman. And apparently they're looking, as of recording, they haven't signed him to a deal, but Kent Hughes said that they are making good progress on that. Should be sorted soon.
Okay, there we go. So let's go over some of the other free agent signings from the past couple of days. So let's start in the Western Conference. Connor Brown is an Edmonton Oiler.
Yep.
That's interesting. Who else do we got here? Man, I just went on the cap friendly page and everybody, like, they're all just like AHL signings right now on this page. Yeah. I can't find anything of relevance. Yeah, Drake Kachula's still a hockey player? Oh my goodness. Michael Bunting Or is there anything else in the West that I'm forgetting? Like big ones? Obviously, Ryan O'Reilly in Nashville. Noel Acciari in
I
Nashville.
was surprised. I was surprised he went Nashville. I thought he would go to more of a contender than a rebuilder, but good for him.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that too, but he really does have that country music vibe to him.
Oh, straight up.
So it's going to work for him well, I think. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a spot where he probably really wants to be. Again, I really hate the fact that he just hated Toronto. Like, that makes me sick so bad, man. Oh, like
we got Alex Killorn to Anaheim, 4 years, 6.25.
Yep.
Oh, Matt Duchene went to Dallas. All right, I missed
Yes,
that
he did.
one.
1 year, $3 million after getting bought out by Nashville, which was ridiculous. And that's what I mean. How are the Leafs not in on 1 year, $3 million for Matt Duchene?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we making that signing? We are in win now mode. Like, we are in win now mode. We need to sign good hockey players. And you're telling me Matt Duchene was available for 1 year, $3 million, and we didn't pull trig on that? That's unbelievable to me.
You know, and the other thing with that is, like, it made a lot of sense for him too. You go to Toronto, you get inflated points because you play with top end players, and then you either win or can snag yourself a big deal the following summer because you had a great season. So I really didn't understand that one at all.
I would also like to talk. Oh, Gus Nyquist is also in Nashville. 3.185, 2-year deal.
Yeah.
I did not see
I have
that.
a feeling I know what one you want to talk about because I just pulled up the trade for it.
Justin Holl.
Oh, that was not the one I was thinking of.
What were you thinking about?
Do Holl quick because this one's gonna be a little more.
I have the utmost respect for Steve Yzerman. I think he's a great general manager. Did he even watch Justin Holl play hockey last year? Because he gave him $3.4 million for the next 3 years for a total of 10.2. Justin Holl
secured the bag.
will never in a million years be worth $10 million. For 8 years, I wouldn't give him $10 million.
I wouldn't give him 10 for 10.
Like, what? Where did that come from? Like, where did Justin Holl being worth $3.4 million come from?
It feels very much like when Yzerman signed Sherratt. It was last summer he signed Sherratt. Where he's just like, just why? Like it feels like he's looking for this stereotypical like big, mean, nasty defenseman that really can't play defense.
Man, I don't get it.
No.
I don't get the Justin Holl signing. Anyway, what one were you wanting to talk about? You got me all.
So I want to talk PLD. First of all, the trade and then the extension.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Pierre-Luc Dubois. I don't think he's that good of a hockey player. I think he's one of the most overrated players in the league. Myself.
You don't understand how excited I am that the Habs missed out on this, given the cost of it.
What was the deal?
So first of all, PLD goes to LA.
Yeah.
The Jets acquire Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, and a second-round pick, funny enough, from the Montreal Canadiens. And then he goes and signs an 8x8. Yeah, looking at this, I'm so glad the Habs are out. There's absolutely no way that we should have paid that price for him, and I just don't think he is an $8 million player.
He's not. Not even close. If he's an $8 million player, then you're right. William Nylander's worth like the league max.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like when people are talking about like, oh, like Nylander's only worth this much, or like whatever, 8.8. You're not telling me that the difference between Nylander and PLD is like $800,000. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So yeah,
I do.
I'm happy that the Habs were not involved in this. I'm happy that he's like that whole saga now is just over, and I'm so happy because it's been like almost 2 years of this, and yeah, big deal, great for him, secured the bag. Also, you gotta love the fact that he was traded to Winnipeg for LA. That's a dub in itself.
Yeah. Another thing that I would like to talk about is Alexander Kerfoot is a Arizona Coyote. Music to my ears. 2 years, $3.5 million in Arizona. No longer a Toronto Maple Leaf. Oliver Ekman-Larsson got a 1-year, $2.25 million contract in Florida. I don't mind that for them. I think he's still got...
No, I thought the issue with him was always the contract.
Yeah.
And now that he's been bought out of it and you can pay him what he actually deserves, yeah, he's still an NHL caliber defenseman. It's fine. I don't hate that deal at all.
Yeah. I'd like to also... Who the hell is Marshall Rifai? And why did the Leafs... Oh, he must be an AHL guy. Anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about. Pierre Engvall secured the bag.
He got like 7 years, didn't he?
7 years, $3 million per. That is insane. Good for him. Like, I'm actually happy for him. He definitely is not worth that, but like, I'm happy for him. I can't believe he got 7 years of term. Like, I cannot believe he got 7 years of term. That's crazy.
Like, of all the players in the world to get 7 years of term, Pierre Engvall got it.
Pierre Engvall. Also,
that's what, to the Islanders, right?
Pardon?
That was to the Islanders?
Yeah. Radko Gudas, 3 years, $4 million per in Anaheim.
I like that he's now out of our conference, and I think that's probably a fair contract for him.
I was actually looking at his JFresh card yesterday. He is surprisingly has really, really good numbers, like underlying metrics. He is one of the better defensemen in the league, both offensively and defensively. Like, I think he was in the 85th or 86th percentile in both, which is unreal.
The offense surprised me. The defense, not so much, just because he's that big, mean, nasty, like...
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, like, not, like, Shea Weber, where it was like, he's very good at defense because he just beats the fuck out of people, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the offense, that's surprising because I've never seen it from him, really.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I did not see this contract. Tristan Jarry signed back in Pittsburgh, 5.375 per for the next 5. That seems like a lot of money.
Hey, how did I miss that one?
26.875 total over the 5 years. I did not see that yesterday. How did I miss that? That's a lot of cake. Yeah, that is a lot of money.
He did not have a great year last year, did he not?
I think he was okay. I think what happened was he got hurt last year, didn't he? I want to say he got hurt last year, and that's kind of why they fell out of the playoff picture. I could be wrong on that. I'm kind of making that up, but I feel like that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? And yes, the Sorokin deal was 8 years, $66 million, 8.25. That's a lot of money, man. But he's 28 years old. He got 8 years. You signed him.
27.
What?
TSN says he's 27. That's what I'm on.
Sorokin?
Yeah.
Cap Friendly says 28.
Well, one of them's lying. But anyways. So I think...
He's definitely 27. But want to know what it is? He'll be 28 when the contract kicks in. His birthday's in August.
Yeah, that'll be it.
That's what it is. 100%. But anyway. That's a lot of cake. Like, it's not the Bobrovsky contract, but like I don't see that guy being worth $8.25 million when he's 36 years old. Do you?
No. Like, unless... Well, the only nice thing about this is it gives the Islanders time not to rebuild, because they've been kind of a playoff team for the last few years, but maybe find those extra couple pieces to give them push. It gives them kind of 8 years to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't overly hate it. 7 of those years having Pierre Engvall on the books is probably not ideal, but you know.
Yeah. That's some interesting management going on over there. Another interesting contract. Bunting, $4.5 million for 3 years in Carolina.
Absolutely.
That seems hefty.
Here's the thing: if he can not match, but if he can almost match his production and keep his style of play, I think he'll be great. I think he'll be absolutely fine for $4.5 million.
I hear you. I know what you're saying. I think that he looked a lot better than he was playing with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. Right? Like that's what
most players would, yeah.
Like that's kind of
why I'm saying he doesn't have to match that output, but he kind of has to almost match it. You know what I mean?
Well, and then
like
you got to
if he
think
puts up
he'll be
like
on a line.
75% of his points.
He'll probably be on a line with Aho and Svechnikov or something like that. So he'll probably be able to make himself worth it. The Leafs obviously were not able to pay him that.
No,
that wasn't going to happen.
Well, not after the signings they made, anyways.
I'm not going to lie to you. I like Matthew Nyes on that wing a lot better anyway.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a bad thing for Toronto. And do you know what's going to happen, right? Is we're going to lose in the Eastern Conference Final to Carolina, and Michael Bunting is going to draw 37 penalties in that series. That's what's going to happen.
I just can't wait for the Michael Bunting's a dirty, cheating, diving player. That discourse he's completely disappeared now that he's not in Toronto.
Oh yeah, that will happen. You know it will happen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Anyway. I'm pretty sure we've gone over most of the notable signings here.
Yeah.
I'm so upset.
This is your chance to vent it out. If you want to scream into the void, this is the void to scream it into.
I already said it. You know how I feel. It's been a complete failure. Brad Treliving's reign to this point has been a complete and utter failure.
It's been 2 days.
What else is there to say? He's like he let Ryan O'Reilly walk. He let Noel Acciari walk. Justin Hole's gone, which most people are happy about. Alex Kerfoot's gone. Again, most people are happy about that. Michael Bunting's gone. Shalgren's gone. Murray's still on the team, not bought out. Like, I liked a lot of those players. Like, minus Hole and Kerfoot, I like Bunting. I really like Bunting. I loved Ryan O'Reilly on that team. Noel Acciari I liked even more than Ryan O'Reilly, I think. And then you let all of those guys walk, and you sign a 36-year-old goon who can literally do nothing but throw punches. He's not a good hockey player at all. There is zero offensive upside to Ryan Reeves, or defensive upside for that matter. He's one of those guys who picks things up and puts them down, and that is it. That is the end of his hockey ability. And then a guy who, again, doesn't bring anything to you defensively. Might bring a little bit of offense from the back end, like similar to a way maybe a guy like Rasmus Sandin did, you know, like something like that. But, and you overpay him after his worst offensive output season of his career. Like, what is going on? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? We still need to sign Samsonov to a contract. He's an RFA, but we still need to sign Samsonov to a contract. I don't know what's going on here, man. I actually have no idea what Brad Treliving's direction is. I don't really know. I don't think he knows. So that's all I have to say. It's been miserable. It's been miserable to be a Leafs fan over the past since the draft. Since the draft, I would say. So that's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got? Yep. All right. I don't think I have much else either. I'm just double checking my notes. No. Unless you want to stop and talk about and laugh at Arizona for their terrible picks. That's
yeah. They suck. What's new?
Hey, the suits looked fire though.
That was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
No, the matching suits were great. You're just jealous because you could never rock that. Yeah.
I got one more thing actually I want to say. I'm looking at the free agency board. I get it. You need to hit the cap floor and those things, but how do you pay Corey Perry $4 million?
How do you pay him and Nick Foligno 10% of your cap?
That's unbelievable. Well, the kicker for me.
Go ahead.
The kicker for me is that they traded a 7th round pick for the right to sign him. And then, like, I get it, it's a 7th round pick. It's not worth that much. But you trade a 7th round pick for the right to sign him before July 1st. Literally, you signed him to a contract the day before free agency. And you paid him $4 million. Like, did you think somebody was going to outbid you on July 1st? right?
And like I understand like the intangibles that those guys bring to a team, and especially to a young team. And like, I look at what Corey Perry did in Montreal for that year. Loved him. I think he had such a massive impact on that young group. So I understand wanting to bring him in. But for $4 million, like that's costing you like more than like that 7th round draft pick is gonna like physically cost that organization less than that $4 million. You've just incurred this massive cost for nothing.
Yeah.
Like when he signed in Montreal, I remember you texted me. You're like, Corey Perry to Montreal, and like a bunch of like laughing emojis. And I was like, well, let's see what the term and the money is. And it was 1 year, league man. I was like, can't argue. Then he went to Tampa for a little over league man. I think he was sitting maybe 1.1 mil. Which again, you're like, that's fair market value, right? Like you're paying him a little more than league man, but you're not breaking the bank on him. And then to get $4 million for $500K more, they could have got Michael Bunting. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
right.
horrific management.
All right, now that we're done talking about that worm making $4 million per year, let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening, everybody. Do you have anything else to get off your chest, Gitano?
Thank you for the support this year. We'll see you next season.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.